Different types of drone shots require different settings. Whether you're shooting vertical videos, horizontal videos, or photos, today we're going to show you how to set up your drone. Let's get to it. And for this, we're going to be touching on 4 different things that you are likely going to include in your videos. The first one is water. You can see here we're at the lake, so we're going to get started with this one. Next, we're going to go into vegetation, trees, grass, whatever you want to include. Then we're going to go into Nadir Shot, where you're looking down, straight down to the ground with the drone flying forward, sideways. We'll take a look at that. And lastly, we're going to be taking a look at the parallax effects for the videos. On the photo side, what we're going to be doing is doing depth of field and playing with the depth of field. So before we go any further, I'm going to show you the settings, the camera settings that I'm using here. And these are going to vary depending on where you're flying, the type of drone that you're flying. But in this case, ISO 100, you always want to go to the lowest possible ISO that you can. Shutter speed here, 1/120. Why? Because if you go to the other part of the settings here, you notice that I'm using 4K 60 frames per second. Aperture here, this drone has a little thing that tells you that it's the optimal aperture. f2.8 is what I'm going to be using in this case. And then you're probably going to have an ND filter on top of the drone in itself. I put an ND8 in here, and the way that you do it is you kind of look and see how bright it is. You put an ND filter in here. Over time, you'll get used to which one you should be putting on. If you have a drone that has a fixed aperture, like the Mini that Ben is going to be flying, or the Air 3S that Jason are about to fly, you probably want to use something a little bit darker. But in this case, we're going to be using ND8. We go to the other page, 4K 60. I mentioned that color. I'm just going to use normal colors in this case, no D-Log, just to keep it very simple. H.265, and then MPEG-4 for the format, and that's it. It's recording to the SSD that's on board of this aircraft. Something really cool with water is reflection. Okay, the water is going to reflect. You can get some really cool reflection of the landscape that might be on the other side. Now today, it's actually pretty windy. If it's choppy like it is today, not going to be able to do it. Another thing that's really cool is you can fly really low to the water and do kind of maybe a quick reveal. And then I'm going to bring the camera down a tiny little bit. I'm going to go forward. And then I'm going to reveal the camera, bring the camera up, and there you go. You've got your shot right here. It reveals what's ahead of us. I'm going to stop right here because there are people and I don't want to fly over them. So in addition to reflection, think about something else. You can also include wildlife, whether it's the wildlife that's in the water. So if you're living in coastal areas, maybe you have access to dolphin, whales, or something else. Make sure that you don't harass them, okay? Make sure that you don't go really, really close to them, just like you wouldn't go really close to other animals on land. The other thing also that you can do is having birds in the shot. Again, don't use the drone to scare them away to fly. One time we got a really cool shot of a heron that was flying away as we were recording something else, and I decided to follow it from a distance. This is where the power of the 3x or the 5x on your lens, or 7x, depending on what you have, becomes really amazing because you can follow these objects as they're flying without really being right in their face. Another thing that I really like to do, especially on this lake, let me find a little spot here that I can go and fly between people and go away. There you go. I'm going to get the sun reflecting into our camera, okay, and get a cool effect of making the kayak disappear. So it's going to take me a few seconds here to get this shot set up. Now, in order to do that, you would need to have the sun right at the correct angle. We'll show you one of the clips that we've done in the past of that water really going in with the reflection and the kayaker kind of disappearing into the light. That's just, you know, an option of things that you can do.
All right, so I'm flying vertical video here with the Mini 4 Pro, and I have the camera rotated here. You can see I'm rotating it back right now so we can get full 4K in vertical format. I have an ND32 on here, and if you look at my settings, I'm in 4K 60. I've got my shutter speed 1/120 with an ND32 on here and ISO 100. I'm still slightly overexposed here at +1. So what I might have to do here is cheat it a little bit and bring my shutter speed to a level where I can get that exposure to a good level there. And that looks pretty good. I'm not so worried about the motion blur in this shot. So I'm really nice and low to the water, and I like this shoreline here as kind of a leading line for me in the shot. We're not really playing with rule of thirds here in vertical, but I've kind of got the landscape framed up at the top third half of the vertical video, and now I can just do kind of a slow push in here. And with that shoreline staying right in the middle, I'm catching some of the water on the bottom there. and a lot of the reflection off of the water as well.
All right, and I'm going to be taking pictures with the Air 3S. Looks like we can get some reflections on the trees and stuff here. So now I'm going to play with rule of thirds just a little bit. Yeah, so here's that rule of thirds again. We've got kind of the shoreline on the upper thirds, and we've got the reflection of the water and everything. You can see the trees and some of the clouds, along with the interesting shoreline here. So the next thing we want to talk about is parallax, and this is one of my favorite effects for videos. What it does is you pick an object that's kind of in the foreground, and then as you move the camera, the background is going to kind of move at a different speed, which gives it this really cool cinematic shot. Now, parallax is better with more zoom, okay? But you have to find the right amount. On this drone, we have a 2.5x and a 6x. I'm going to show you what it looks like with a 6x because I believe that you get a bit more dramatic of an effect. Now, what you need to choose is you need to choose a landscape like this one here that has different layers, a different layer. We have something in the foreground, we have something in the background, maybe multiple things in the background even. You can go in the other direction also and do a quick reveal. You can go slow, you can go fast, depending on what you want to do. But you can also add a bit of rotation right here at the same time. So look, I'm going to start to add rotation at the same time, and notice how we're staying kind of in the middle of our shot. Here, look, we're going to reveal this beautiful kind of crack in between the two rocks right here. And there you go. You can see all the movements moving. It doesn't even look real. It is just so cool.
So I'm shooting for vertical video, and I definitely want to incorporate some vertical parallax is what I was thinking. I see this shoreline with several different layers of backdrop here, and I know when you were out, you spotted a couple other shots too.
Yeah.
So you're going to direct me to them.
Yep, there's some cool shots. And of course, Ben here is using the 1x, which is a bit more difficult, but that's all the drone has. Doesn't mean you can't do parallax. You just got to get a little bit closer to get that movement. The closer you are to the subject, the more the background is going to be moving. So, well, you've got a little bit of the lake in the back as well. Maybe climb it a little bit and see if you can reveal that.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Let me go for it here.
And of course, you know, your parallax doesn't have to be just in one movement up or down. It can be slide and also, you know, turn at the same time. Yeah, there you go. See, you're doing a kind of a vertical reveal as you're showing. And of course, the goal is to have the front objects moving faster than the back objects, which in your case is working pretty well. Now, we're not covering everything in this video. I just wanted to give you some basic tips and some tricks. Now, to see more, make sure to check out our free course. It's called a Cinematic Drone Footage Playbook. We'll show you a full guide on planning your shots and also some advanced maneuvers.
All right, so we really can't do parallax with photos, can we?
No, but there's somewhat of an equivalent, right? The depth of field. But the depth of field is pretty difficult with a drone because of the size of the sensor. The optics are not really designed for that kind of stuff. Typically, we have a pretty wide angle, which doesn't really give us the depth of field. If you've ever used a traditional camera, we want to go with a longer zoom typically to get that depth of field. But we got to step it down. So f2.8, I think, is what you have natively.
Yep.
Right. So we can't change the aperture here. It would be good if we could go a little bit lower in the numbers, so we had bigger opening, more depth of field, but the 3x is what really is going to save us, hopefully. Again, don't expect a ton of depth of field with your drone, especially don't expect it if you're very wide. We have to get to a subject that's really close to us, like me to Jason, and then have this background behind him that's going to be blurred. So we found a balancing rock, which I think is getting in the shadow right now.
Kind of a cool shot because the back's mostly lit up. And
yeah, and it's kind of weird, the color of the lake as well on top of it. So you want to obviously focus on top of that rock, and you can maybe go, this would actually be a perfect shot vertical. So maybe we'll crop it in post. There you go, and then frame it up a little bit because we're going to do it vertical. Yeah, something like that. And then take a shot and then make sure that you're focused right on the object in itself, and we can see how much depth. If we don't get depth of field here with this shot, we're never going to get it because that mountain is miles behind us over there. The next thing we want to show you is how to kind of include vegetation into your shots. Now, because we live in Arizona, we have more rocks than we have vegetation typically, but on this lake, there's a beautiful area here that you can see on my screen, which is this tree in the middle of the lake. Now, we're lucky. We mentioned reflections earlier. There's actually a bit right here where the wind is not actually pushing on the water, and it's kind of creating this whole area where there is a bit of reflection. So really neat area. What I like is you can see the ripples here on the lake. What I like is that behind it, all the way over there, is we have all of these rocks. I'm going to show you how to do kind of an orbit in this case to include this as the center point. But because I like zoom footage, I'm going to go to the 2.5x. I'm not going to do the 6x because it's a little bit too touchy. It's a little bit more difficult to accomplish this shot. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start kind of like right here, and I'm going to break the rule of thirds. I'm just going to have it right in the center. I'm going to go even a little bit lower here just to frame it nicely, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb at the same time. So I'm going to do an orbit going to the right, climbing and revealing what's in the background over here. So right stick to the right, this to the left, kind of reveal like this, keep the tree right in the middle. And then as I get established here, I can do this, start to climb, and at the same time reveal what's in the background. And here is the shot, and look at this, look at how beautiful this is. I'm getting also closer to the tree because that was kind of what I wanted to do, but here we kind of integrated everything that we just looked at, which is the parallax a little bit, the water, and then also the vegetation at the same time.
All right, so for my vegetation shot, what I'm really going to look for is something tall, like a tall tree that will fit nicely in that vertical frame, really filling up my composition with as much as possible. Or I could do a wide shot as well, but what I've got framed up here is this nice vertical tree. And I'm using the spotlight mode, so it's locking onto my subject. Or with the shadows on the backside there, it gives me a lot of dynamic range and a lot more depth to that image, whereas on the front you can see it's mainly just purely lit up and you don't see as much depth, although there is a lot coming off of those leaves. So a nice orbit here, and I'm adding a little bit of rotation and increasing altitude at the same time, getting some parallax and getting some other details in the shot as well.
All right, so we're gonna frame this up here. I wanna put it on one of the lower thirds. I'll bring it around here, and I am in the 6x here. You can see we've got some reflection from the trees. Maybe drop down a little bit, see if I can't get some of that a little bit more. Actually, I think that I like this shot a little bit. I like this shot more than the other one. Try to get that trail out of the shot here. There we go. Take some AAB here. Awesome. Maybe I come just a little bit closer. Get a slightly different framing. That's perfect. But
so what I'm going to do here in my shot is I'm going to include this tree and do a top view of it just to kind of show you the different things that you can do. So you can do several things. You can go, and one thing that I like to do, I like to bring the camera all the way down. So that's 90 degrees down right here. And then we're going to keep this object right in the middle. And then I'm going to do a corkscrew spiral going up. So this one is pretty easy to do with the flight controls. And then depending on the surrounding of that tree, obviously in this case, there's water next to it, which we're going to go very low right here and kind of reveal it. And we're going to do a slow rotation going on top of it. So I'm going to start recording here. I'm going to climb, and as I climb, I'm going to move to the left or to the right. In this case, I'm going to go a little bit to the right and do that corkscrew movement just like that. And you just hold it in place. Keep an eye on your altitude as you're doing this so you don't climb too high. There you go. Now, I know it says that I'm flying over 400 feet, but I'm not really. It's because of the difference in elevation here from where we started. And there you go. I'm going to stop it right here. So that's one way to do the nadir shot.
All right, so one of the big factors with vertical video to me is looking for interesting composition that you can film in the vertical format. And one of the things we have right here is a dock. All right, so I'm actually going to start, let me see if I can start over this tree in vertical here. 4K 60, 1/120. I actually switched to the 64 ND filter because it's gotten fairly bright since we first started. And here we go, just kind of trying to keep my verticals as straight as possible. The nice reveal shot here of this dock. And that's a cool vertical composition. So we got a lot of movement, a lot of drawing your attention up and down the frame.
okay, so we're doing top down. This is Nadir. So cool trick about nadir or nadir shots like this is that if you go up to 75 or even 70 degrees, there you go, about 70 degrees, and you pan over to something. Let's actually take a look at that great blue. You can get a pretty cool image, or pretty, there you go. Let's go back here so I can show you more what I mean. So here from 70 degrees, we're well off center of that bird right now. And we can take that picture and it looks like it's top down, even though it's really not. So if you need to get a top down shot of people where you're not allowed to fly over people with the Air 3S, you know, the kayakers we saw earlier, getting top downs of them would have been much, much easier if you just fly to the side a little bit and turn that camera angle down quite a bit.
If you really want to improve your drone skills, it takes two things: practice and knowledge. Now, practice obviously takes time. Knowledge we can help you with. We have a full drone photo and video course where you can learn how to take your skills to the next level. Head over to pilotinstitute.com and get started today.